Look, I'm just saying, the phrase friend-shaped was made to describe Slowpoke and his extended family. I mean, just look at these guys. From Pokemon Kids, the Pokemon Fingerpuppet line out of Japan I love so much, this is the Slowpoke line. I know, typically I say the final evolution is whatever the line is, but to be fair, you could either get a Slowbro or a Slowking, so I think it'd be more sense to call this the Slowpoke line. So, let's talk about these guys, because they are incredibly cute, and I adore having them. I always like to talk about the timelines of these Fingerpuppets, because it took a long time for them to come out. It is the longest running line of merchandise Pokemon has ever had. So, these two Slowbros are from 1996, same year as the first Pokemon game coming out in Japan. In 97, you got this Slowpoke. In 99, same year I was born, you got Slowking. Hey, how's it going, King? Then, in 2017, you got Galarian Slowpoke and Galarian Slowbro. So, all in all, you are looking at 20 years worth of Pokemon Fingerpuppet innovation, which is kind of fun. I also love how our timeline begins and ends with Slowbro, because, I'll be honest, out of the entire line, Slowbro is my favorite. But, with all that said, I want to talk about the individual Fingerpuppets now. The things that make them different, the things that make them unique, and the things that might have could have done better. Before we talk about the Slowpoke lines, right, let's talk about the Shelter. Now, I've already reviewed this guy with Cloyster, and the reason I'm wanting to bring it up now, even though I don't think he needs to be in the official lineup, is it takes a Shelter to make a Slowbro or a Slowking. That's right, according to the Pokedex, these things are Shelters that attach themselves to Slowpokes. So, without this guy, you couldn't have these evolutions. That said, this is something that only comes up in Pokedexes. It's not one of those evolutions where it's like you have to keep this guy in your party or something. No, it's just a fun little bit of trivia that I quite like, even though it has no effect on gameplay. From 96, this is my Slowbro, and it is the older Slowbro, the one before they really had finalized the design. I love the details here, like I love Shelter back here just looking like, ugh, I'm sick of this asshole. And then, of course, you got Slowbro like, woohoo, you're eating my ass right now. And then just the general happy vibes. I like it. I especially like the yellow, right? The yellow is something that's not supposed to be on Slowbro, but these Fingerpuppets came out before they had these designs finalized, and they were rush job products. As much as I love them, they were rush jobs, which is why in the early years, there's so many variants of each and every Pokemon. Here. From the same year and the same factory, this is Slowbro, but this came out in the latter part of the year where they finalized the design. And you can see not only did the colors change, but the paint apps change, because now they're painting the inside of the mouth. They've also given a different color to Shelter and given him different paint jobs. You see, all these dots that are on Shelter here aren't on the Shelter on this one. So you can see, even though these guys are great, you could go and make an entire collection just of the quote-unquote off-color or off-model Pokemon Fingerpuppets, because no one really knew what these guys were supposed to look like yet. The final designs weren't the final designs yet. It's really fun. I love seeing like the history of Pokemon as represented in media. My favorite example is how I have a Fingerpuppet where Pikachu has a baby Pikachu on its head, because at that time, Pichu didn't exist. Check out my Pikachu Fingerpuppet review if you want to see that guy. From 97, this is Slowpoke. And this guy at first looks perfect. It doesn't look like I have any paint rub on him, but then I noticed, look at his eye there, right? So, for a long time I thought, oh, someone scraped the white off, but that's not what happened. There's just a little bit of overspray. Not a big deal though. I really like this though. It looks like Slowpoke is just waking up and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, it's great. It's a very cute Slowpoke design. This probably is my favorite Fingerpuppet here, with one possible exception, just because it has so much personality in that face paint. Introduced in Generation 2, Slowking, being a Fingerpuppet that came out in 99, was part of the first year of the Heart Gold, or rather the Gold and Silver Fingerpuppet releases. And I'll be honest, I think Slowking's fine. Like, I like him. I especially love that the Shelter is back here, so it's like you can't sneak up on him. He's watching you here and here. And I especially love the origins or the lore where it's like, oh, well, the venom that is seeping out of the Shelter is entering Slowpoke's brain and making him hyper-intelligent. That's funny. Thing is, though, right? as much as I like the design, it kind of loses the joy of Slowbro and Slowpoke for me. It just, I don't know. When you take your slob and make him a snob, he's not as fun as he once was, you know? I'd like to just have the slob back. From Galar, this is the Galarian Slowpoke. And of course, this guy was one of the only new DLC Pokemon that you didn't actually need the DLC for, because he showed up at the train trek. You could buy him, or you could capture him before you got the pass. So, technically speaking, this guy is unique in the fact that he was there entirely to convince people, yo, buy the pack, you get more Pokemon like this. And I like the Slowpoke, right? You can see by looking at the other Slowpoke, I never noticed this, but the Galarian Slowpokes are a much brighter pink. They're almost more like close to a lavender or a purple. Moreover, I love this yellow on the head. It makes him look like he's wearing a beanie, and you have these kind of worry lines right above his eyes. It's so cute. I love the Slowpoke a lot, and it led to one of my favorite regional variants ever. I adore Galarian Slowbro. I don't know what it is, but something about turning the Shelter into a hand cannon just makes this guy look so cool. I love the purple on his head. I love the more kind of upright position. I love the fact that he still has his big bulbous tail. I adore Galarian Slowbro, so much so that I think this is my favorite Fingerpuppet here, and my favorite member of the line. There's just so much good stuff here. With all that said, this is a great little unit of Fingerpuppets, and you can get them for very cheap because, at the end of the day, as beloved as Slowpoke is, a lot of them were made, but not so much so where people would be buying them up the way they might do with starters or Pikachus or Psyducks even. So, I'd say if you're interested in the Fingerpuppets at all, maybe try checking out Slowpokes. You get a lot of great Fingerpuppets that show the real strengths of the line from the different eras they were released in, while also not breaking the bank.